What is up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crawdad Lake, and today we're going to be continuing with ariww19's fabulous story entitled I Could See Too, a Sanitides fanfic. The description reads, Soul Search, the ability to see and read the souls of people. It's great to have, especially in high school. Now, this is a sequel book, so if you would like to read the first book, I recommend checking out the author, or doing it anyway, even if you read the first book. And if you'd like to read along with me, I did record the first book and post it already, so you could find that on my channel in the Wattpad Read Aloud playlist. So with that, let's get started. Chapter 1. I woke up early today, and after getting ready, I head to school. I'm the first in my friend group to arrive. While waiting for the others, I play on my phone. You don't have a zero period. Why are you here so early? A girl asks. Her name is Brittany Colin. She's a friend. She's short and small. Her dark brown hair is short and with tight curls that frame around her face perfectly. Her dark skin is nearly flawless. She has a beauty mark on her cheek. Today she's wearing a light gray hoodie and black skinny jeans with combat boots. We have a similar sense of humor and text each other often. Most random thoughts and questions, memes, or things about school. We really only talk in the halls, though. Or through texting or during class. She's sat with me and the guys a few times during lunch, but she's usually with her own friends. We have the same second period together, and we sit right next to each other. We aren't exactly close, but we're friends. When I first met her, I could see that she's kind, overachieving, smart, but carefree at the same time. She's not one to take people's bullshit either. Neither do you. What's your reason? I ask in response. She explains that she walks with her friend, who does have a zero period. I tell her that I just decided to get her early. You're so weird, she says, sitting next to me. Thanks, I respond, smiling. Can I ask you a question? She asks. I nod, and she looks around to make sure we're alone. You're friends with Darren Lucas, right? Is he single? She asks hopefully. You're into Darren? I ask in response. Maybe, she says. Yeah, he's single. Want me to see if he's interested? I say, and she nods. When I agree to talk to him, she hugs me and tells me that I'm the best. I smile and look up as I sense Darren's soul getting closer. A black SUV pulls up and he gets out. He says something to the driver and shuts the door. He waits for the SUV to leave before turning towards the school. When he sees me, he smiles softly and makes his way over to me. Morning, Verge, he says when he reaches me. Morning, this is Brittany. She's a friend, I say, introducing her. His smile gets bigger and holds out his hand to shake hers. Nice to meet you, he says, and she smiles. You too. I'll see you guys around, she says, pushing her hair behind her ear and walking away. Darren watches her walk away, and I can see that he's attracted to her. She is pretty, right? I ask, catching his attention. Yeah, she is. Seriously, doubt a girl like that is single, though. Or that I'd have a chance, he says, looking at me. Wrong. She's single and already into you, I say, looking down at my phone. She is? He asks, surprised. Go make your move, I say, glancing up at him, and then over at her. He smiles and says he'll see me later. I look back at my phone, but pick up a dangerous aura inside the school using Soul Search. Concerned, I make my way inside to where it's coming from. The front office. When I get there, I find a guy my age talking to the principal. His jet black hair is wild, and he's wearing black skinny jeans, a dark gray shirt, and a leather jacket. When he looks around, I catch a glimpse of his ice-cold blue eyes, which stand out against his pale skin. Mr. Crane, this is Joey Mays. He's a new student. Would you mind showing him around school? Principal Patel asks. I want to say no, but the look my principal gives me tells me I shouldn't. Sure, I say, forcing a smile. This Joey guy is bad news, dangerous, manipulative, and only cares about himself. Nice to meet you, he says with a charming smile, but I can see it's a fake smile. Is there anything in particular you need help finding? I ask, trying not to sound annoyed. His smile falters for a second, but he catches himself. Guess I failed. I can see he already doesn't like me. Not that I care, because I don't like him either. I'm sure I can find my way around. Thanks for the help, he says, smiling. I ignore him and make my way back outside to find Roman waiting for me. Hey, Virg, he says, walking up to me. We make our way to our first class and head to our seats. While talking to him, I sense Joey's soul getting closer. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, I say softly. Roman gives me a weird look. Much to my annoyance, Joey walks into our class. When he sees me talking to Roman, he smirks and takes the seat on the opposite side of him. Hey, I'm Joey, he says, holding out his hand for Roman to shake. Roman shakes his hand with a friendly smile before introducing me. Oh, we've met, I say, annoyed, looking towards Mr. Barnes as the class starts. After class, I tell Roman I'll see him later. As soon as I get a second period, I spot Ethan and make my way over to him. You okay? He asks when he sees my annoyed face. I explain everything that happened to him. So, you're worried about him potentially getting close to your boyfriend? I know, it's stupid, I say, sighing heavily. Anyways, has Club told you that he's moving here yet? I ask to change the subject. His mom finally convinced his dad that him being around the friends he made here was best. Yeah, he didn't say when, but he'll be going to our school at the start of next year. Just 4 months away, and we'll be seniors, he says sadly. Are you gonna live it up for your last year? I ask. Of course he knows I'm really asking if he'll ask Club out and ignore his parents' homophobia. Maybe, he says, smiling to himself. Time passes by quickly, and before I know it, it's almost lunch. When the bell rings for lunch, I gather my things and head to my table. However, when I see Joey sitting with my friends and laughing, I freeze. They all seem to like him. All except Ethan, who is discreetly glaring at him. I watch them all for another minute before deciding to make my way to the table. As soon as I sit down, I watch Joey use his thumb to wipe some ketchup off the corner of Roman's mouth. This bitch. Asshole, I hear Ethan mumble next to me. Roman quickly wipes his face and scoots towards me. I see Logan wrap his arm around Patton. It takes all my self-control not to kick the shit out of Joey. How dare he touch my Roman? Finally, fed up with him, I take a seat and deep breathe so I don't yell. Don't touch him, I tell Joey darkly. Everyone at the table stops talking and looks at me. Actually, can you leave? I really don't want you here, I say truthfully. Excuse me? Joey asks as Ethan nods in agreement with me. Leave, I repeat darkly. Did I do something wrong? He asks with a fake annoyance. Yes, you touched my boyfriend, and I don't like you, I say as my anger rises. Virgil, what's wrong? Patton asks me. He looks at me confused, but that's only because he can't see what I can. No one says anything, so I take a deep breath to calm myself down. I can see his anger rising, but he keeps that innocent look on his face. I forgot that Mr. Barnes wants to see me at lunch. See you guys later, I say, standing up. It's best I leave before I do something stupid. He told me the same. I'll go with you, Roman says, standing up. He gathers his stuff and follows me. You seem friendly with Joey, I say as nicely as I can muster. The guy won't leave me alone. He keeps trying to touch me, and it's creepy. I even told him I was dating you, he says, shuddering. I bite back a smile, and he asks what's up. I was worried that you'd start to like him, I explained shyly. He looks at me, and I could see he's offended. No way, he says, wrapping his arm around me. I stop and turn to hug him. I could see he's surprised, but he hugs back happily. Is him touching me the only reason you don't like him? Because you seemed off with him during class, too. He asks me when we pull apart. No, but it is the main reason. I don't like when people touch what's mine, I mumble. I could see he's surprised by my words. That came off as a bit possessive, didn't it? I asked when I realized what I said. Yes, it did, but it was kind of hot, Roman admits. I smile and clarify that I'd never see him as property. He takes a quick look around before putting his hand on my neck and pulling me into a passionate kiss. After our kiss, we spend lunch walking around and spending time with each other. We walk around until the bell rings. He kisses my cheek and heads in the opposite direction. I start walking to my class, but stop in my tracks when I hear someone yell in frustration. Damn it all! They yell, and I hear a loud thud. What the hell? I stand and head towards the hallway the noise came from. As soon as I turn the corner, I see a girl sitting on the floor against the locker. Are you alright? I ask her softly. She quickly wipes her eyes and stands up. I'm fine, she mumbles as she turns to open what I assume is her locker. Alright, I say and start walking away. Wait, do you think you could walk me to the principal's office? She asks me hesitantly. I stop walking and look at her soul that's full of fear, among other negative emotions. Sure, I say without asking why. While walking, I introduce myself to her. I'm Emily, she says with a sad smile. You don't have to answer, but is there a reason you're so scared to walk alone? I finally ask. Just some bullies, she says, like it's no big deal. Wonder why a girl like her is getting bullied. She seems nice enough, and I can see that she's a good person. She does have a lot of anxiety and some depression, though. She's pretty, too. Her long black hair has blue streaks, and her dress is kinda punk. Her blue eyes really stand out. I'm sorry about that. Well, if you ever need any help, just look for me, I say as we stop outside the office. Thanks, she says, and walks inside. With Emily settled, I go and head to my next class. English with Miss Luxar was next. As I approach my class, I see Ethan waiting for me. Hey, he says, greeting me with a smile. Hey, I say back, also smiling. We walk into the class and each go to our seats. Miss Luxar spends the class going over the next book we're going to be reading. After 6th period, I say goodbye to Ethan and head to 7th period. Chemistry with Mr. Bard. The closer I get to the classroom, I sense an already familiar and annoying soul. Joey. Great! He walks into class, and I can already hear the girls in my class swooning over his looks. No, if only his personality matched. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on the guy. I don't even know him, and although my soul search is never wrong, there's always a chance. With a heavy sigh, I decide to apologize. It's just my luck that he happens to take the seat next to mine. Chapter 2. He sits next to me and looks over at me with a smile. A fake one, but a smile nonetheless. Look, I'm sorry for acting like a dick at lunch, I tell him reluctantly. Don't worry about it, although I'd like to know what I did to piss you off, he tells me. Besides touching my boyfriend? I question him. Would you prefer I touched you? He grabs my hands in his. If you want to lose an arm, I tell him as kindly as possible. He simply laughs and pulls his hand away. Don't worry, although your friends, including your boyfriend, are attractive, they're not my type. Other than Logan, your friends don't seem very bright anyways, he tells me as he opens his textbook. Excuse me? I ask him. Just saying, Patton is too naive and not very bright, is he? Roman seems a bit dense as well. Logan and Ethan seem to have some brains, but I still don't like them very much, he continues. I stand up ready to punch him, but the bell rings. Is something wrong, Crane? My teacher asks. No, I say darkly as I glare at Joey. The asshole just has a smirk on his face. I could see he doesn't mean everything he just said, but that's besides the point. After class, I stop Joey on his way out. Stay away from my boyfriend and my friends, I tell him simply. Gladly, he responds back. With that said, the two of us walk in our different directions. I walk down the hallway with a scowl on my face. You look pissed, Ethan says when he sees me. I am pissed. I should wring that asshole's neck, I tell him darkly. How dare he insult you all like that? I continue. Hold on, who? He asks. That prick Joey. He insulted you guys, I tell him. What did he say? He asks, so I tell him. Wow, he is an asshole. Well, at least he won't bother us anymore, he tries to reason. True, but I still want to kick his ass. I mean, I'm not going to, but I still want to, I tell him. He laughs and wraps his arm over my shoulders. We walk out school together and each sit on the grass to wait for the others. It doesn't take longer than 5 minutes for all of them to get here. Hey, baby, Roman says when he sees me. I stand up to meet him and he kisses me softly. Oh, you two are adorable, a girl's voice calls out. I turn to see Brittany walking down the main path with her friend. Roman smiles and asks me if it's okay if he comes over. Sure, what about you guys? I ask my friends. I'm going to Logan's house, Pennon says. He looks at his boyfriend. My brother is visiting, so I'm going to head home, Ethan tells me. I have to head home as well, Darren mutters. Roman and I say our goodbyes before heading off to my house. We walk the 5 minutes holding hands. When we reach my house, I unlock the door. My mom's car is gone, so I'm guessing she's still at work. You hungry? I ask as he shakes his head. Well, I'm starving, I tell him, and he chuckles. He heads into the living room and sits on the couch. While he pulls out his homework, I go to the cabinet and pull out a cup of noodles. I put back the top and put it in the microwave. I hit the button 3 times and head into the living room. As I reach the couch, I get to Roman's attention by putting my hand on his shoulder. He looks up and I smile at him. He moves his book to the side and lets me straddle his lap. My hands go to his neck while one of his hands rests on my waist. The other cups my face and pulls me into a deep kiss. Baby? Roman asks as he pulls back from our makeout session. Yeah, I ask in return. He sniffs the air, asking, Is something burning? My eyes widen as I remember the cup of noodles I put in the microwave. Shit! I explain as I jump out of his lap. How are they burning? I put them in there for 3 minutes like always. When I get to the kitchen, I run to the microwave and pull it open. You've got to be shitting me, I say when I realize the problem. My dumbass forgot to put water in it. With a heavy sigh, I pull out the cup and walk over to the garbage. As I throw it away, I hear snickering coming from behind me. It's not funny, I turn to tell my boyfriend. It's pretty funny, he says with a smile. I blame you for this, I tell him. He grins happily and asks how it's possibly his fault I forgot to do a basic thing. You have me distracted with all your everything, really, I tell him with a smirk. Well then, I'll take all the blame, he says, walking over to me. He puts his hands on my waist and pulls me closer to him. My hands rest on his chest as I lean in to kiss him. I can see his soul that's mostly pink, but it's also dark blue. Is everything okay? I ask. Of course, he responds with a smile. I raise an eyebrow because even though he has a smile on his face, his soul shows something different. I forget. You could see my soul, he says, losing his smile. I don't say anything. What do you see? He asks softly. You're sad about something, I say back. I miss my uncle. As you know, he left the other day, he tells me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sure it must suck considering how close you two are. I respond and he nods. It does suck, but I'll be okay. He'll only be gone for a few months, so, he says, smiling sadly. Maybe I can meet him someday, I suggest. He smiles and nods in agreement. We should actually do our homework, I say after a moment of silence. Aren't you still hungry? He asks. A little bit, but I think I'll just eat something else, I say as I walk over to the cabinet and pull out a box of wheat thins and walk into the living room. I grab my bag and take a seat on the couch before pulling out my homework. Want some? I ask as I open the box of wheat thins. I look at him to see he's on his phone. No thanks, babe, he says as he locks his phone. Do you want to come over for dinner tonight? He asks. Sure, I'd love to. You've met my parents. It's only fair I meet yours, I say with a smile. They're looking forward to it, he says, pulling out his phone. He types something and then locks it. I look down at my homework and start to work on it. I continue to munch on my wheat thins at the same time. After eating quite a few, I decide to stop. I don't want to spoil my appetite. I'm excited to meet Roman's parents. As long as I've known Roman, I've never actually been to his house. He always came over to mine, or we hung out at the park or at Low Creek. It makes me happy that he wants me to meet them. The two of us finish up our homework about the same time. When we realize we're both done, we decide to head to his house. I make sure to lock up before we leave. The walk there takes about 10 minutes. We hold hands the whole way there. We finally reach the 2-story house. It's located in the middle of the street, with more 2-story houses directly on either side. It's a light blue house with dark blue trimmings. There's a large tree in the front yard, and beautiful rose bushes. It's so much prettier than my house. Mine is an ugly yellow with green trimmings, especially the yard. The rose bush at my house is as dead as my grass, but the house's yards look like something you'd see in a magazine. Wow, your yard is amazing, I tell Roman. Thanks, my dad loves working on it, and my mom adores her roses. You should see the backyard. My dad has a garden back there. We even have our own plum tree, he explains as we walk up the pathway. We get to the front door as he unlocks it. The two of us walk inside. The house is really nice. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted with an open living room area. There's 2 couches and a big TV. As I look further in, behind one of the couches, I can see a dining room table and a china cabinet. Mom? Dad? Roman calls out. Fair warning, my mom is a hugger. I hope that's okay. He tells me. I'm fine, as long as I see it coming. I remind him. Just as I say that, I focus on the souls around me. I see 2 souls, one upstairs and one in the backyard. We walk further in, and I'm greeted by the bottom of the staircase. Wonder where they are, Roman mutters to himself. Someone's upstairs, I say without thinking. He turns to look at me, but doesn't get a chance to say anything because we hear the door open upstairs. Princey, is that you? A soft female voice calls out. Yeah, Mom, Roman says softly. Princey? I question. He gets all flustered and explains the nickname to me. Apparently he wanted nothing more than to be a prince when he was younger. He says he went by Prince or Prince Roman for months when he turned 7. He'd only dress in princely costumes until he turned 9. The nickname kinda stuck after that, he says, and his mom reaches the bottom of the staircase. I smile and I think of a tiny Roman running around pretending to be a valiant prince or something like that. Hello, I'm Elizabeth, Roman's mother, the woman says with a bright smile. He pulls me into a hug, which I return. Her brown hair reaches her shoulders, and she's a little shorter than me. She is quite beautiful. I'm Virgil, Roman's boyfriend. It's nice to meet you, I tell her. She pulls away and smiles at me. My husband would love to meet you. Follow me, she says. I follow her towards the back of the house, with Roman behind me. We briefly walk into the dining room before turning into the kitchen. In the kitchen is a sliding glass door leading into what I assume is the backyard. Through the glass I can already see the owner of the second soul I sensed. It's a man with black hair and a nice face. He's really handsome. Honey, come inside. Roman's boyfriend's here, Elizabeth says excitedly. The man looks up with a smile and stands from his spot in the garden. The man is pretty tall. I can't get over the fact that Roman's parents are freaking supermodels. The man comes inside and makes his way over to the kitchen sink. He washes and dries his hands before turning to look at me. He holds out his hand for me. Hi, I'm Isaiah, Roman's father. It's good to meet you, kid, Isaiah says in a deep voice. You too. I'm Virgil, I say, shaking his hand. His grip is firm. He pulls away his hand and leads us into the living room. I take a seat next to Roman on one couch while his parents sit on the other. We make small talk for a few minutes before his mom goes off to start dinner. We'll be in my room, Roman says, grabbing my hand. All right, bud, we'll call you guys down when dinner is ready, his mom tells him. I follow him upstairs. There's a loft when you reach the top. It has a couch, a coffee table, some bookshelves, and a desk with a PC. We turn right at the top of the stairs and follow the hallway that also turns right. We get to the end of the hallway with 2 doors. That room belongs to my uncle, he says, pointing to the room on the left. We go into the room on the right, and I'm amazed how decorated his room is. It's a medium-sized room with a full-sized bed. There are printouts posted all over the room of various things, Disney, music stars, or movies. He has a TV on the opposite side of his bed and a desk right next to it. Wow, I love your room, I say, sitting on the bed. Thanks, I'm glad you like it. You want to watch something? He asks, and I nod. We end up watching TV and snuggling up together until his parents call us down for dinner. The dinner's nice, and I feel really comfortable around his parents. They have very calming souls, too. After dinner, it's late, so I tell Roman I should start heading home. He looks sad and tries to say something but stops himself. What's up? I ask. Nothing. Want me to walk you back? He asks. I'm good. Bye, Princey. I see, using his nickname. He laughs and smiles. I'll see you tomorrow, I say, kissing him softly. He kisses me back intimately. Chapter 3. Is he here yet? Ethan asks for the 5th time. If you ask me again, I'm going to throw you in front of the car, I say as we sit outside the airport. It's been 2 months since I met Roman's parents. The school year just ended, and now we have 2 months of summer vacation. I'm sitting outside the airport waiting for Club because he's finally moving here. I'm with my mom because Club's parents said it would be okay for him to stay with us for a few days. His dad has something important to finish up with his job, so Club's parents won't be here until the end of the week, in 5 days. Ethan's with us because he was bored at home and wanted to hang out today. He didn't realize we were coming to pick up Club until we got here. When he realized it, he freaked out because he wasn't dressed. Of course, I told him he looks fine in his blue jeans and white t-shirt. A few minutes pass by before seeing a familiar head and shaggy, dirty blonde hair. His rose beige skin is nearly flawless, and he's as skinny as he was before. He's average height. When he sees me and Ethan, he runs a hand through his hair with a big grin. I look over at Ethan to see his mouth agape. Beautiful, Ethan says as Club approaches us. What? Club stutters with embarrassment. I can't laugh at the two of them. Nothing, Ethan says quickly, a smirk and look at my mom, who's straight up chuckling at them. Come on, boys, my mom says, gesturing for us to follow her. The 3 of us follow her out to the car. The drive back, my mom lets me play my music. When we get back to my house, my mom tells us to keep it down because she wants to get some sleep. Those 2 wouldn't dare. They're guests after all, I say, smirking at Ethan and Club. My mom gives me a look before heading to her room. Ethan's face turns beet red and Club just looks confused. I know you're talking about me and Ethan, but what wouldn't we do? Club asks sweetly. Make love, of course, I tell him, smirking. Virgil, he whisper yells. I chuckle and make my way to my room. Ethan and Club follow me. We all sit on my bed and talk about various things together. Hey, you guys hungry? I ask. Oh, why? We're not planning on cooking, are you? Ethan asks. I was going to make a sandwich, asshole, I say, rolling my eyes. He laughs, and so does Club. Well then, I wouldn't mind one, Ethan says, standing up. We go into the kitchen and I go to the fridge. I pull everything needed to make sandwiches and set on the counter. We all make a sandwich and chat. After eating, we decide to head to the park. We're sitting under the gazebo when I sense a familiar soul. You've got to be shitting me, I mumble, and Ethan rolls his eyes when he senses it too. What's wrong? Caleb asks. Before Ethan and I can say anything, Joey walks over to us. Hey guys, who is this beauty? Joey says, sitting next to Club and looking directly at him. Oh, I'm Club, Club says with a shy smile. Ethan, who is sitting on the other side of Club, reaches out and wraps his arm around him. Oh, I see. Is this your boyfriend? Joey asks. Oh, please, I'm not gay, Ethan says, but I could see the hurt in his soul as he says it. Idiot. Club looks at Ethan sadly before shrugging off his arm. He's just a friend, Club tells Joey sadly. I have to go. I'll see you guys later, Ethan says, sitting up. He walks off with a kicked puppy look. Well, I hope you don't mind me being forward, but would you like to go out with me sometime? Joey asks Club. Please say no, please say no, please say no. Sure, Club says, captivated by his beauty. Great, here's my number, Joey says as he pulls out a piece of paper and pen from his jacket. He's not interested, I say, leaning forward on the table. Joey looks at me with a fake smile, saying that he almost forgot I was here. Well, I am, and he's not interested. Leave. We're in the middle of something, I tell Joey. Virgil, you're being kind of rude, Caleb says in an apologetic tone to Joey. Either he leaves, Caleb, or I do, I tell him firmly. Caleb looks surprised, but turns to Joey with an apologetic look. Don't worry, beautiful. I don't want any trouble, so I'll go. Just call or text me sometime. I'm Joey, by the way, Joey says, leaving his number. Joey walks off with a final smile. Tell me you're throwing that away, I ask Caleb. Why? If this is because you think I'm like Ethan, he says, but I shake my head. You do like Ethan. However, Ethan's an idiot for a different reason, but I'll deal with him later. Whatever happens between you two is just that. Between you. That has nothing to do with the way I acted. This is because I know what type of person Joey is, and I don't like it, or him. If you're going to be with him, or talk to him, then I don't want to know anything about it, I tell him truthfully. You've seen a soul? He asks, and I nod. He's a bad person, isn't he? He asks, and I nod again. I don't know, I'm assuming Ethan saw it too, and that's why he acted the way he did, or I'll stay away from him. If you tell me what happened, he says, crumbling up the paper. With a nod, I explain what happened between me and Joey, how he acted, and even what he said about our friends. Wow, he may be attractive, but his personality sounds hideous. This really has nothing to do with Ethan, then? He asks me. No, it doesn't, although I do think Ethan cares about you. Whether it's romantically or not, you'll have to find out yourself. Just give him time. He might be going through something, I tell him. Can't you just tell me if he likes me? I know you can tell, Caleb asks, and I shake my head with a smirk. Caleb groans. Wait, he says directly at me. You haven't told him I like him, have you? He asks. I simply smirk in response. Virgil! He explains with a chuckle. Not that I'd have to. He has soul search too, I tell him. Caleb groans again and pulls out his phone while I pull out mine. I tell him I'm going to text the others and see if they're up for hanging out. He said he's going to see if Ethan is able to come back. I text Ethan as well. Come back? Why should I? Don't be such a baby. Come back. Not like I'm needed there. Ethan? What? We both know you have nothing to do, and you don't want to go home. Come back and talk to Caleb. Are you even answering his texts? Fine, I'm coming back, and yes, I'm answering him. He asked you to come back, didn't he? Maybe. You're so whipped. A couple minutes pass and Ethan comes back. You left because you didn't like Joey either, huh? Caleb asks him. Yeah, let's go with that, Ethan says softly. Is that not the real reason? Caleb asks. I keep my mouth closed, but I can't help the knowing smile on my face. Caleb's not stupid, but he can't see the real reason Ethan left. It is, Ethan says. I shake my head, but say nothing. What did the guys say? I can't wait to see them, Caleb asks after a few minutes of us talking. I sense a familiar soul approaching us. Oh, they're on their way. My other friend is coming too. That cool? I ask him. He nods, saying he's looking forward to meeting them. His name's Darren. He's a cool guy. Dumb at times, but cool, I say, knowing Darren is close enough to hear me. So rude, and I brought your drink, Darren says, sitting next to me. He sits down, the Monster Energy I asked for, so I tell him I'd take it back. He holds out his hand to Caleb, who shakes it. I'm Darren, he says with a smile. Caleb, do you go to the school with them? Caleb asks. Yeah, we met. He stops and looks at me. Oh, he knows, I say as I open the energy. Knows what? Caleb asks. Remember when I told you I was arrested? Darren's the reason they finally let me go. I tell him before taking a drink. Now he's one of my best friends. I say, putting an arm around Darren's shoulder. He says that because I bring him energy drinks from home, Darren says, chuckling. Everyone laughs. Not true. I like you as a person, too. The drinks are just a plus, I say, chuckling. Everyone laughs again. We all talk for another few minutes when Logan and Patton appear. Not long after, Roman shows up. We spend the day hanging out and talking to each other. After a few hours, we all decide to go our separate ways. Club and I walk down the street. How are things going with you and Roman? He asks. When are you going to make a move on Ethan? I ask in return. He glances at me, looking at the ground. You heard him earlier. He's not gay, he says sadly. I sigh and pull out my phone. Hey, do you like club? Of course. Why? Then when I ask him out. I want to, but I'm scared. I see. I'm such an idiot. Club's an amazing guy. He deserves to be with someone who isn't afraid to be with him. I agree, mostly. I think you two should be together. Really? Yes, really. I know you could see that he likes you. The problem is, he won't know you like him until you tell him. Unless you want to miss your shot, you better do it soon. You're right. What about my parents? Fuck your homophobic parents. Fair enough. I'm not forcing you to do anything. It's your choice, whatever that choice may be. I just think that you're happy when you talk to or about Club. It's the same for Club when he talks to or about you. Whenever you decide to do, I'll still be here. And on your side. Thanks. I've got some stuff to think about. I'll talk to you later. I look up from my phone to see my house coming into view. Who are you talking to? Club asks. Ethan, I respond. He nods as we approach my front door. He already knows how I feel, doesn't he? He asks me. Yeah, he does, I say truthfully. Sometimes I hate your guy's soul search, he says with a sigh. We walk into my house and go straight back to my room. So, how are things going with you and Roman? Club asks. The two of us lay back onto my bed. Great. It's weird. I was so adamant you couldn't fall in love with someone so fast, but I was proven wrong by myself. I tell him. I glance over to see a sad look on his face. His soul turns completely dark blue and his eyes gloss over. Club? I say softly as I sit up. It's nothing, he tries to tell me. It's not nothing. Talk to me, I say, using my hand to make him look at me. Will I ever find someone who loves me? He asks as he chokes back tears. Of course you will, I say, wiping away a few stray tears. I'm just scared that I'll never be loved, he tells me. So, that is all for today. Before we wrap up, freaking Ethan, say something to Club before he freaking breaks down. Come on, Ethan. Ah! Okay, now that I'm done with that, thank you so much for listening. I really recommend that you check out the author, ariww19. They are so talented, and I left the link to their Wattpad and to the book in the description below. If you'd like to recommend a book to read, it could be one that you wrote or one from another author. There is a Google form in the description where you can fill out a book recommendation, and I may or may not read it on another episode of Wattpad Read Alouds. If you'd like to follow me on social medias, I have things like TikTok, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, and etc. in the description below also. So if you'd like to follow me on any of those, I encourage you to do so. Thank you so much for listening. Like always, do your best.